All
Hello.
right. Hello, is this Miles?
It is.
Miles, this is Redler from Hellcast Radio. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here.
Oh, you know what? I know we had some difficulties confirming the setup and everything, but please welcome also the co-host of the show and my wife. This is Queen Bitch.
Hello,
Hello,
Queen
sorry.
Bitch.
How's it going?
It's going very well, thank you.
All right, so
Excellent.
Miles, the first thing I want to say is, dude, I love your voice. You could so be like a narrative almost to like Morgan Freeman.
Wow, that's high praise. Thank you very much.
It is
Uh,
high
yeah.
praise.
It is because I want to say that I have seen you in so many things as like a bit actor, and for this movie, obviously you are like the main character, and are so pronounced. Um, it actually is like, wow, I so remember this voice from so many other things, and I know there's been many things that you've been in, but the movie that we're referring to tonight is, oh shit, I suck at this. I know, right?
Watch
Demons.
I
out,
fail.
honey.
No, the movie is. Please help me out.
Demons.
Demons. And I
Yeah.
actually did watch this today, and I apologize. I've had a few, probably too many tonight.
That's quite all right, sir. I've had a couple myself.
Oh,
Excellent.
absolutely.
We're all on
What
the same page.
Yeah.
what have you been drinking, sir?
I was drinking vodka tonic.
Woo!
Okay, that's a little stronger than
Yeah,
what we've been
yeah,
drinking.
yeah. I had a show tonight, doing a production of Macbeth, and after you do that show, you need a couple of drinks just to unwind and decompress. It's
Well,
just
yeah, Macbeth is pretty intense. I've actually never seen it myself, but I've heard rumors that it's pretty intense.
it is. There's a lot of blood in it.
Really?
Little insanity.
In Macbeth?
Really,
Yeah.
honey? Do you not understand what Macbeth is?
No, I honestly I don't. I've heard of it, but I've never actually seen Macbeth. So
There's a
I
lot of
can't.
suicide.
A lot of people get killed.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, see that's something new to me. And I still apologize for getting the name of your movie after watching it today. And I literally watched it like 5 hours ago too. So I mean, I really feel retarded right now.
That's quite all right. I'm grateful that you watched our film.
But Miles, I come to find out at the end of the movie that not only were you the star, but you also wrote it and produced it. What was that like? I mean, for you to direct yourself and everybody else and be like, all right, I wrote this here. Here are my lines. No, I don't want you to fucking deviate from this shit. This is what I want you to say. I mean, how did that go?
Well, I think if you're going to write and direct something and act in it, you have to make sure to surround yourself with a very talented team of folks whom you trust, who are going to shoot straight with you, who are going to tell you when maybe you aren't making the best choices. Casting is everything. I mean, 90% of directing is casting anyway.
Okay.
But certainly when you're directing and acting, casting is so important. And I always tell my actors, not you can't deviate from the script, but in fact, I tell them, if you can think of something that's better than what's on the page, let's do it. Bring it. What do you got?
Okay.
See, that is
Yeah,
so totally
and,
my mentality. I love that.
And
So you encourage that
every
kind of
film,
stuff.
every film, something like that winds up in the film. Somebody
Okay.
comes up with something that's wonderful, and it's in the movie. And in this movie, it was Stephen Brand in particular, who really had some great ad-lib stuff. And his little bit about Roman and Greek statuary and the genitalia on Roman and Greek statuary, and that was just Stephen coming up with that in the moment, and I thought it was brilliant, and we kept it in the movie.
Excellent.
Miles, I gotta point out there was a few things that really threw me off about the movie. Okay, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of this genre. So
Okay.
I'm
I
really
guess
impressed that he actually watched it, quite honestly.
I have to say that I was probably more critiquing it than usual, because I'm trying to be more accepting for my wife because I know she likes this kind of thing,
Okay.
and
That's good.
Yes.
so I definitely I wasn't sure how to grasp the whole naked 20-year-old chick in the pool half the time, but
Uh-huh.
not only that, but the guy who played his wife or her husband. I want to
Her
say,
wife.
yeah, I know.
Nice, babe.
I want to say
Eddie.
that I've seen him in some other things before, but I
Right.
guess the
Stephen Brand. Yes.
Stephen Brand. Okay.
Probably most notably for his role in The Scorpion King.
Oh,
Okay.
He played.
that may be
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. He was the main villain in The Scorpion King. He played Memnon in that.
Oh, okay. Now, see, your character and the way I interpreted this is that you had dealings with, I don't know if it was your girlfriend, your wife, or love interest during this movie. She seemed to be the one who was kind of like possessed, and at different parts of your lifetime, you dealt with how to, I don't know, sort of deal with her.
Hmm.
And
Yeah. Well.
and that's the way I took it, and it was really weird. I had a hard time understanding the concept.
Well, it basically boils down to this. This was a guy, my character Colin, who was called in to perform an exorcism on a young girl, 17-year-old girl in rural Louisiana.
Mhm.
Um, the daughter of very conservative Christian parents, and her
Oh, that's another
older
thing.
sister Kaylee, right? Her older sister Kaylee,
Mhm.
played by Lindsay Ann Williams. She's come home to sort of suss this out. It's a terrible situation. Things are going downhill very fast. The exorcism goes bad, very, very bad.
Oh yeah, it does.
And right, and this young girl, unfortunately, is killed. She dies as a result.
Okay.
But but the priest, my character, and her older sister make this connection, and he later writes it off to trauma bonding or any number of
Okay.
things. With two people who have gone through a difficult situation together, who share similar histories and these types of things, they get together and they build a life for themselves. But the problem is that the ghosts of the past, the demons of the past, however you want to characterize it, they don't go away. And Kaylee, in particular, continues to be haunted by the presence of her dead sister, and the guilt of that tragic moment in both of these people's lives sort of permeates everything that they're doing and experiencing, and they're even in this new life that they built away from Louisiana. They have this bed and breakfast now. They're hosting the wedding of some old friends, but the demons of the past continue to haunt them.
Okay.
No, and like I said, it was really strange for me. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the genre, so I was trying to grasp the concept, and I have to admit, the father of the possessed
Yeah,
girl. I
right.
have seen him in like everything, and he is always a bad guy. He is so cool.
Yep. Andrew DeVos.
Oh, that dude is awesome, and when the queen, my wife, my beautiful wife, when she gets the chance to see this,
Yeah, sorry,
she
haven't
will
seen it
she
yet, but I'm
will
very interested in seeing this.
she will definitely know who he is because she's seen him in pretty much everything I have. So we
And
know,
probably more.
yeah, and we know of his background, and I think that was an awesome casting call. I know that probably wasn't your call, but whoever cast him, that was awesome because the dude
It was absolutely my call. And
really.
Excellent.
Andy is not only a great actor, but a tremendous human being. And you know, it's fascinating. Andy is this, you know, imposing, terrifying guy, right, on screen. And you've
Yes.
seen him in The Wishmaster, you've seen him in Lost, and all this other stuff. Toy Soldiers. He's terrifying.
Oh, good
Now
movie.
see
Right.
what I picture him as. What I picture him as this super angry Mexican or Latino drug lord who just wants to fucking murder you. And that's the way I see him. And that's the way I see him. And it's like, oh, I love that portion of him.
But he's a wonderful human being. He's such a sweet guy. He's an absolute joy to work with. He was on the set. He was game to do anything we asked him to do. So it was a real pleasure working with Andy Devoff. What a great guy. But yes, that role was so tricky. It's a linchpin character in the film. We asked him to do all kinds of crazy stuff, including do these long speeches in Latin, and he delivered incredibly. He was just tremendous.
That was one of the things I was going to ask is, did you guys actually have to learn Latin, or did you just kind of spit out some bullshit and hope that it turned out that you were okay?
Actually, I have a PhD in ancient history, and my degree is in the early church.
That's
Excellent.
awesome.
So the Latin is accurate, and I made sure that everybody's pronunciation was correct. Little Easter egg, if you will. Everybody who speaks Latin in the show has ecclesiastical pronunciation, church Latin pronunciation, except Andy's character, except Jasper, who speaks old school classical Latin. So we gave him that.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
See, and like I said, I honestly was a little confused by the whole movie because it didn't kind of fit the whole horror genre that I was expecting. But it did fulfill sort of like an Exorcist type movie, and so I thought that was kind of cool because I never saw the original, so I just had these theories, but I did like how it went about, and the whole the female lead. I'm not sure who she is.
Lindsay, Kaylee.
Kaylee. She may have been. She may have been the one who had, the most dramatic changes in the movie because you see her normal and then you see her completely psychopathic, and so that really rang true for me because that reminded me a couple of my exes.
Nice.
So I was like, oh my red, what is happening here? But so it kind of startled me a little bit in that aspect, and I'm like, oh shit, this dude's got it on the dot. But I was honestly surprised to not only find out that you wrote it and produced it, but you were also the star. And I mean, I know how, like I said, I've seen you in many things before, and I love your voice because it comes over as, and don't take this the wrong way, but it comes over as monotone, but it's almost like that narrative monotone that you love, almost like the James Earl Jones version.
Honey?
What?
Honey?
Yes.
You did not mention John Snyder was in this movie?
Oh, I forgot to mention John Snyder was in this movie, baby.
You fucking asshole.
Baby, John Snyder's in this movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
I forgot that part.
John Schneider's in the movie. That's true.
Wow. I'm so mad at you right now. I got John Snyder and Andrew Didoff, who plays the best line in Toy Story ever when he says
Miles,
explosion.
Hold
and
on,
he says it
Miles.
so dramatically.
Hold on, Miles. Before you get all pissed off at me, I got it. In my defense, the Queen was at a soccer game while I was watching your movie.
I'm so watching this movie. There's some awesome actors in this.
I just got to say,
Indeed,
my
there are.
and so no, I mean it was really interesting. Um, I had a hard time
Yeah.
following it, and maybe that's
This
just
is
me
well. This
not
is
being a huge fan of the genre.
this is a tremendous cast. I mean, Andrew Divoff, as we've talked about, John Schneider, we've talked about Stephen Brand, Lindsay Ann Williams, who plays Kaylee,
Hmm.
who's so wonderful in the role, and that's a very very difficult character, as you mentioned. A lot of different emotional layers to that character, and I believe first and foremost, it's every great film begins with characters, and Eddie's character
Yes.
Stephen Brand says, character is everything, and that's kind of how I approach scripts and how I approach every film that I do, and this cast really brought it. I mean, we were on an incredibly truncated shooting schedule. We had
Hmm.
15 days to shoot this film, and
Holy
everybody
shit!
came and they left it. Yeah, they left it all on the field every day, um, and we were incredibly fortunate to be able to get this cast of folks. I mean, from top to bottom, from the folks you know to the folks that you haven't necessarily seen before, but you watch their work and you're like, man, I want to see that person more. People like Lindsay, people like Christina Emerson. Um, so it was really an incredible experience being able to work with this cast.
So I got to ask you, how does it feel being the writer, producer, and the star of a movie? I mean, that would seem kind of overwhelming to me.
Well, it's tough. You're wearing a lot of hats, but you find people that you trust. You surround yourself with quality people. Your fellow producers, your director of photography, your editor, the people, the sort of brain trust that you know is going to make the movie happen, and then you put your faith in those people, and you tell those people, hey, uh, you gotta tell me if you feel like this is going wrong or we're making bad decisions, whatever. Um, Shoot straight with me. And we had a great team of people on this. Ben McBurnett, our director of photography, this second film working with him.
Hmm.
He was our DP on The Hollow, our last film. Our editor on this one, Jared Hollingsworth, is my first time working with him, but he was absolutely, well, I'm sorry, I did a short. He edited a short called Two Birds, but this was his first feature working with me, and he is just absolutely tremendous. Our colorist on this film for the second time was Bradley Greer, who is a maestro colorist out of New Orleans. Kyoto Color is his company, and he colored 12 Years a Slave, for example. So pretty big time dude. And we had a lot of fun with color and texture in this film, with making the flashback sequences, for example, look different than the present day sequences. At the end of the day, I think film is such a collaborative thing,
Yeah, definitely.
and it's about bringing together a team of people. It's about choosing the right people to surround yourself with, especially if you're wearing a number of hats. That you're the writer,
Yeah.
you're the director, you're the producer, you're the actor, whatever. You can't do it all. At some point, you have to hand off responsibilities. You have to say, I believe in you, Jared, or I believe in you,
Hmm.
Ben, and I need you to help me make this happen. And in every instance with this film, that was the case. So really proud of this team, really proud of this cast, and I hope we've delivered a film that people will respond to.
Oh, that's excellent. And I'm very interested in seeing this movie. I actually haven't had a chance to do it. But I was just reading your little bio thing on IMDb, and it says you have a PhD in ancient history.
I do indeed.
And okay, I have to ask you, what's your favorite? I kind of am a little bit of a geek in ancient history. What is your favorite period in ancient history? I mean, do you have a favorite in ancient history?
Probably my favorite period is what we call late antiquity.
Mhm.
sort of the later Roman Empire.
Okay.
Yeah, sort of the
That's kind of one of my
fourth,
favorite interests.
yeah, fourth century, sort of CE. You know, the Constantinian period.
Mhm.
Um, I'm a big fan of. I wrote a book on Alexander the Great, so I'm a big fan
Oh,
of that
wow.
era as well. The fourth century BCE.
Right.
Um, my work in the early churches has led me to spend a lot of time with early Christianity and the historical Jesus. So first
Okay.
century CE is big too. But I'm fascinated really with anything from about 5th century BCE, Mediterranean world, Greece,
Yeah.
especially Athens. Um,
Yes.
the theater scene at Athens in the 5th century BCE is particularly interesting to me, of course, being an actor, being a writer.
Right.
Um, up through the Carolingian period in the Roman West. So
Yeah, I've never
we
heard of
Okay.
that.
classicists have, well, you know, Charlemagne. You probably heard of Charlemagne, yeah?
I have
Yes.
heard of that.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
I'm yeah. I mean, I'm very interested in like the ancient Roman period, ancient Egypt. Egypt is kind of an obsession of mine. And ancient Roman culture is a obsession of mine. I mean, I'm very interested in going to Pompeii,
oh
and
man,
that is just like my ultimate dream is to go to
yeah,
Pompeii
yeah,
and see, it's just like this snapshot of ancient Rome and the
yeah.
different classes
You
and the
got to do it.
different
You got to go to
things, and
Pompeii.
I just one of my dreams.
You got to go to Herculaneum too. One of the
Yes,
cool things about
definitely.
Pompeii and Herculaneum, obviously, you know, these two cities that were subsumed by the volcanic eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79
Yes.
CE, and they were preserved under this layer of volcanic tufa. And
Yes.
so the buildings and the frescoes and the statuary, all this amazing stuff was preserved. Um, cool thing about Herculaneum is it's a lot smaller than Pompeii, and so
Yes.
not as many people go there.
Yes,
So
that's what I've heard.
I almost prefer Herculaneum because you go there on the average, you know, weekday morning, nobody's there. But you go to Pompeii and you have the hordes of people, right? Pompeii is a much larger city, much larger
Mhm.
site. But
Yes.
but Herculaneum is absolutely worth a visit, as is the Villa of Plantis, which was also subsumed in the eruption, which was
Yes.
the Villa of Plantis was the villa of Nero's wife, Pompeia Sabina, and it's a
Okay.
really cool site as well.
Yeah, and
So if you get down there to the Bay of Naples, there's lots to do.
oh,
Lots of Vesuvius related awesome stuff.
yeah, and it's definitely on my bucket list of things to do. I know my daughter actually has a chance to go to, I believe it's somewhere around Rome this summer with her culinary class, and I'm like, I'm going, and she's like, no, and I'm like, really? So, my daughter's probably going to experience, my 16-year-old daughter's probably going to experience Italy before I do. And but it's all good, and it's on our bucket list to go. I keep telling Redler that, we're going to Italy. I don't care how we get there, we're going.
You got to
So,
do it. Rome is one of the great cities in the world, and if you have any interest in the ancient world, I mean
absolutely.
Rome. I mean Caput Mundi, right? It was the
Hmm.
head of the world. I mean, it's
Yeah.
there's so much to see there, so much to do. The food is amazing. The wine is amazing. The bufala mozzarella is amazing. You got to get to Rome.
I agree. We got to go see Andy in Rome anyway. So, there's
No,
that.
yeah, yeah. One of the bands that we have interviewed a couple of times now, their guitarist lives in Roma, Italy, and
Hmm.
we absolutely need to go see him because the dude is absolutely cool as shit. Um, but Miles, is there anything else that you're working on currently? I know this movie has come out, but do you have anything else in the works that you're producing or directing or such?
I am working on a new script now. I'm going up to Meridian, Mississippi next week to do a short film for Meridian's Rails to Reels Film Festival. Elliott Street and Thomas Burton, a couple of really cool dudes who are doing great stuff for film down here in the Deep South. They've got these grants where pro filmmakers can come in and do these short films with emerging filmmakers and amateur filmmakers. To sort of, it's almost like an educational kind of thing. So we're going up there to do that next week, and then I do theater every chance I get, and I'm working on the next script. So there's
Excellent.
always some irons in the fire, and I'll keep you posted.
No,
Definitely keep us posted.
we
Very
would
much
be,
looking forward to it.
yeah, we would be absolutely honored if you kept us in the loop. Now, you mentioned this film festival. Something that comes to mind as being a smaller producer, director, actor, um, is the Greenlight Project. Is that something you would consider doing?
Yeah, I mean, there's very little I wouldn't consider doing under the right circumstances. Um, and there's a lot of great programs out there for independent filmmakers. And I mean, the thing is, as we all know, independent films are very, very difficult to make. It's a
Yes.
huge
Right.
challenge. You're building something from the ground up. You don't have a studio system behind you. You're raising money from private equity. You're trying to get people to believe in what you do. Then you're trying to find a distributor who believes in what you do. And we've been fortunate to have that with Steve Leopard and Uncorked Entertainment, who's they've distributed our last two films, The Hollow and Now Demon.
Oh,
So, but look, at the end of the day, I think every artist has to have an open mind and to find ways to get their material out there, and to understand that there's no guarantee you're going to get another film or another opportunity. So you have to make the
And-
most of every single opportunity that's out there.
no, you're absolutely correct, Miles. And I just want to say, like I said, I have seen you in many other things before, and I recognize your voice because you have one of those voices that seems to resonate over others. And that's not a bad thing. I don't want you to think that it is. But I truly do respect you.
Thank you, sir. You've compared me to my voice to James Earl Jones and Morgan Freeman tonight, and
Yeah.
whereas I'm not sure that's apt. Believe me, I appreciate it sincerely. No question. Those
No.
are two of the most iconic voices in American cinema, so I thank you for that.
No, and honestly, because when I hear your voice during the movie, that's honestly what I think of. I think of some of those movies that they have done some narration for, and it's like, to me, it stands out as one of those voices. Like, I fucking know that voice. I can't place a face to that voice, but I know that voice. And but after tonight, it's like, holy shit, I could place a face to that voice that I know that is so iconic, and honestly, it means so much to us. It really does, because and through October Coast and Uncorked Entertainment, we have had this opportunity, and I am so very grateful for through our tiny little radio show. But the people
Well,
that
guys, thank you so much for having me on. I'd love to speak with you guys anytime, and I appreciate you supporting our film.
No,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Thank you.
And with the people that we do speak with, we do have a lot of loyalty. There are a lot of people that love us for what we do, whether it's the music, whether it's the interviews, whether it's the dumbass games, or the just completely drunkenness talking that we end up doing. But we definitely have a ton of fun, and we love the
Definitely
Queen and I
thank you for being on
absolutely
here.
we love what we do.
That is clear. Well, guys, thank you so much.
Thank
Um,
you.
It's been a pleasure. Happy to chat with you guys anytime. Believe me. Thanks for supporting Demons. I hope your listeners out there will check out our film. Leave us a review on
Definitely.
IMDb or on Rotten Tomatoes or on Amazon, and keep supporting independent film.
Absolutely.
It's a hard thing to get independent films made, and we need all the help and the support that we can get. Because an independent film is something that an artist willed literally through the sheer force of their personality, oftentimes, to get made, and we need all the support we can get. So we appreciate what you do.
No, absolutely.
Thank you so
and
much.
I just realized that we went like 10 minutes over the time allotment that you told us.
That's
And
quite all right.
All right.
and
Well,
but
thank you so much.
if you could do one more thing for us, if you could just say who you are and the film and that you are listening to Hellcast Radio.
Okay, you got it. My name is Miles Doleac, the writer, director, star of Demons, and you are listening to Hellcast Radio.
Thank you, Miles. Greatly
Absolutely
appreciated.
spectacular. Sir, you have a wonderful evening, and we hope to talk to you soon.
Awesome, guys. Send me a link.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Have a great evening.
You
You
too.
too, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye.